Okay, here's a silly mistake I made on Amazon that didn't cost me any money, but it was still a silly mistake. So this is the D1 on Amazon, which is, it's really great because you have this long compression, and then all of a sudden this pop, and it's on nice volume. This over here is that triple witching day, so that volume is going to be elevated no matter what, but this is elevated volume too, if you take a look at that. And as you can see, it had relative weakness, but it looked like it was coming into relative strength. And remember, this is the 5-day period rolling average. So this one strong day will not show up as relative strength if the previous 4 were weak. This is why this is a cool chart. So the second thing is it breaks over this upward sloping algo line through here. And it looks like just a long compression breakout. It looks like we're going back up to the all-time high. It's a really killer setup that you can ride for a long time. So I took this thing right here. So I waited for it to pull back to VWAP, took it literally right there, and it just took off, and I felt like I was the smartest person in the world. So it took off right up all the way to there. And then we actually closed through here, and I said, you know what, I'm holding on to this thing. Because we just had this day on SPY. Look how much higher this candle is from this candle compared to these two candles. So Amazon is just starting relative strength. I felt so smart. I felt like I got right in at the start of the move. So I'm gonna hold on to this thing. But then we get this big, ugly pullback, sideways action. I thought, okay, well, you know what? It's probably just gonna hold for a little while, let the 8 catch up to it, and then it's gonna take off again. This is an upward sloping algo line, so I'm not too concerned about it. Oftentimes, it'll break out through it, touch the next line, and back down. So my target on this thing was actually gonna be like, I don't know, maybe like 157, 158, somewhere around in there. That was my target. But then we got that disgusting day, that super big drop day, and Amazon got knocked back into the Stone Age, which is not what I had been expecting. This was a great win. This was like 40% on the contract, a 3 or 4 week contract too. And I was just sitting on it. And then as soon as we got this flush day, I felt like a total moron. And I was so frustrated because I had a fantastic win, like a double-sized typical win. And I just kept sitting on it, which in hindsight, I guess that's the right thing to do, right? Because you're expecting the all-time high to be reached. But then we get this weird like options volatility related flush or something. I don't know what the hell. And then we have the next day. So I'm still sitting on it because I don't necessarily believe that this is going to go anywhere. But then we have the next day where things are still dropping. And I'm thinking, well, where the hell did the relative strength go in Amazon? Now it's only just starting to show up through there. But this thing was strong all the way back there. So why didn't it start showing up again through here? And why am I not getting any sort of relative strength through here? Secondarily, on this day on SPY, we gapped up. So we opened up after that drop to a gap up. I did not get the gap up on Amazon. And that was the only thing that I saw. Like I just kept getting fixated on that. Like, why didn't Amazon gap up? This thing is gonna trick me. Like I should get out of this thing. So I see it dropping back down. I see it at break even and I just scratch out of this thing. So I'm so frustrated with it. And I thought, well, whatever. If it goes back up, I'll get back in it. By the way, that's not true because you can't just hop back in a stock just because. Just because you shouldn't have sold it doesn't mean that you should still be long or you should go back in long. Those are two different decisions. But anyways, I didn't get my gap up. So I thought this thing is losing its relative strength. It's going to pull below my break even. I've already lost so much on it. Like a winner doesn't pull back that far. So why should I stay in it? So I scratch it out and then it goes back up and it's probably going to continue back up because look, it's going into a compression. The 8's caught up with it. This thing's going back up to 160. So what I failed to notice was how resilient this was, even though this looks brutally violent, how resilient Amazon was during the whole pullback thing. Because look at this. If you zoom out, my entry and my exit are the same. It's break freaking even. It's the exact same. But then I've marked it on SPY where I entered. So I entered Amazon here on SPY and I exited there. Look at the difference. Look at that divergence. I entered when SPY was significantly lower than when I entered on Amazon. I exited. So Amazon actually did have great relative strength. I was just so fixated on the lack of the gap up and so frustrated on the fact that in hindsight I could have had an awesome win, but nobody was necessarily expecting that. The right move to make was actually to hold this thing. It was to hold it until you take profits maybe somewhere up in there. That was the right move to make. So I did make the right choice. But then I made a bad choice because I was frustrated thinking that I didn't make the right choice. that's the game this trading stuff plays on you. But yeah, that's Amazon. That's probably my most frustrating move of the week.